Hi FitPro friends, Ali Taylor from Move Well Fitness here, and I'm back with you for another movement mastery session. This time we're going to be talking about the magical, mythical world of booty bands and glute activation. So I hope you have your booty band ready, because I need you to. Are you ready? Throw it away. Yep, just like that. Get rid of it. We do not need any booty bands to activate our bootylicious behinds. I'll tell you why. The magical myth of glute activation is just that. Reason number one. Your glutes, if they were not activated, you would stand up and you would fall straight over. So if that's happening, then perhaps your glutes aren't activated, or you might have some sort of neurological muscular wasting disease, in which case glute activation is probably the least of your worries. Now, the other thing is, when we look at activating our glutes, perhaps what we're talking about is they're not strong in full range, right? They might work in some degree, but we might find that when we try and do longer range stuff or deeper range stuff, perhaps they just aren't quite up to the task at hand. So we put these booty bands around our legs and we do teeny tiny ranges of motion like this and like this, right? Or we lay on our back in like a little hip thrustery bridge and do teeny tiny ranges of motion, with this idea that as we fatigue the hell out of our glutes, we're switching on all those muscles so that we can then perform other things like running and jumping and lifting heavy stuff much better. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. It doesn't hold up in the research, and we're probably just wasting our time. Now, that's not to say that we shouldn't be looking to activate more of our glutes, or in fact activate more of any muscle that we're training. Perhaps we just need to approach it differently. And I'm going to talk you through the science of why that's important. We're going to go through a 6-exercise circuit. And this 6-exercise circuit is designed to actually switch on your proprioceptors. So if we're really talking about activating the glutes or turning on all the lights, so your glutes, if you imagine like a little Christmas tree rather than a sad little lamp, we need to actually switch on all the proprioceptors that reside in your tendons, your ligaments, your muscle spindles, your fascia. Did I miss anything? We're basically going to cover the 7 key proprioceptors that reside in tissue that we are looking to train. So joints, muscles, ligaments, tendons, fascia. So we're going to go through this in an order. And if you read the material that comes with this video, I'll discuss a little bit more about each proprioceptor, what it does, where you can find it, how it likes to be worked, and then hopefully activation will make a little bit more sense to you. The other thing I would like you just to remember as we go through this subject is that when you're looking to hypertrophy a muscle, and a lot of the time these booty bands are also used for growing booty, for growing a big butt, or anything else you want to find on Instagram with those booty bands. Remember, they're working a short motion because you're not getting full range of joint motion when you put those things around your legs. To hypertrophy a muscle, to increase muscle size, the research categorically states you must take that muscle through its full range of motion. Otherwise, you are not going to achieve hypertrophy of all the muscle fibers. So again, booty bands, not really ticking the box there. So I would throw it away and do some of these that are going to follow. Okay, so let's get going. The first proprioceptor we are going to light up is called your Golgi Mazzoni corpuscle. Now, this resides in your joint capsule where the bone attaches. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a wall, because this little guy likes compression, but not rolling it on a foam roller compression, compressing the joint compression. So find a wall, go ahead, put your hands on it, and then all you're going to do is imagine you're punching the wall. So you're going to knee the wall, and as you knee the wall, it's going to squeeze your joint in. It's like it's being pushed into its hip socket, and then you're going to touch down. So we're going to do that a few times. Press the wall and release. Press the wall 2 or 3 seconds and release. I'm going to do 5 of these in total because this doesn't take very long. So I'm going to do one more. And then I'm going to do the other side. So knee comes into the wall and taps back. And you're trying to push at about a 5 or 6 out of 10. So it's not your full might. It's just a bit of a pressure, a compression in that joint. One more. And then we're going to go sideways on. So I'm going to turn to face you this way. So again, I'm going to stand closest to the wall and you're going to press it into the side of the wall. So again, I'm compressing into the joint, but this time I'm compressing into abduction. So my hip is moving posteriorly and it's that back of the hip that I will be switching on as I do this. Now, I'm going to do again 5. So I'm going to do 2 more. This standing leg will actually be working a little bit too. You're going to swing around to the other side. So press the knee. I'm trying to come up about hip height. If your knees are a bit sensitive, you could use a yoga block. It can be quite a nice way of making sure you're actually putting enough pressure into the wall itself so that you're pinning the yoga block to the wall. We'll do 1 more. And then we're going to turn away and I'm going to just push my foot into the wall a little bit like I was trying to do a donkey kick. So I push, whole foot flat, knees roughly in line with my foot. And it's like I'm just trying to push a door open, a really heavy, old-fashioned oak door, pulling up on my other side and just keeping my shoulders over my hips so that it's here that I feel. So you're going to do 1 more. And then I'm going to swap sides. So I'm going to push. So these Golgi Mazzoni corpuscles, they are the only proprioceptor that respond to contraction. Okay? So when you're doing your glute bridges and anything else that contracts the muscle or works the muscle concentrically, no proprioceptors are switching on. They prefer extension, okay? So this is the only one that's working in contraction. So I think that's a pretty key piece of the puzzle when we talk about activating muscles. Okay, so that's our first one done. Come into a little bit of space. We're now going to tackle our Pacinian corpuscles, and these, they reside at the distal end of a joint capsule. And these guys, they really like changes in direction and changes in speed. So what we're going to do is we're going to work extension of the glute. So we want to switch on maximum range of motion in the glute. Remember I said for hypertrophy you need to take a joint through its full range of motion. For the glute, that's internal rotation of the hip. So I need an internally rotated foot. It's adduction across the body, so I'm going to come across slightly, and it's hip flexion. So I put all those 3 together and I get maximum extension or lengthening. So if you put your hand on your butt and you internally rotate, you flex and you cross, you'll feel that lengthen. Okay, so the more you lengthen, the more you put it into extension, the more you're going to recruit some of these proprioceptors. So I want you to lunge forward, internally rotate the foot, and then reach your hands to your back foot so that your butt kind of swings out to the side and it's just slightly crossing the other foot. Now you're going to do 1 slow, so really like you're wringing it out. Tip, tip, tip the body over, and now do 2 as quick as you can. Whoop. And again. I'm going to show you from the side. So you're going to go 1 slow, turn the foot in, reach to the back knee, wring it out, go as far as you can, and now 2 quick, get there and back. Whew. In like warp time stream, warp time speed, slow, 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 slow back, and then quick. So these guys, they actually get bored really easy, Pacinian corpuscles. So we change speeds to keep switching them back on. So we're going to do 1 more on this side. Literally 5 reps is absolutely fine because all we're doing is flicking the light switch on. That's all. We don't want to fatigue massively if all we're doing is kind of priming the pump. So let's do the other side. I'm going to come across. I'm going to internally rotate. I'm going to do the same thing quick twice. And I'm trying to keep my back hip forwards because your foot is going to want to turn out. So across, reach, reach, reach. Maximum length, 2 quick. Your quick ones can be a little shorter. And then quick. As long as you're feeling that lengthening, that opening feeling on that hip. Okay, I'm going to do one more. So slow, push, and then 2 quick. Okay, good. Now, proprioceptor number 3, Golgi ligament endings. These reside in the ligaments, okay? So we're going to do a mid-range lunge. These guys, they need triplane movement, and they do not need full range of motion. So we're going to do a mid-range lunge. We're basically going to do a triplane forward, frontal plane, transverse plane lunge. And we're going to put sagittal, frontal, and transverse plane arms onto each lunge. So come with me, right foot, lunge forwards, reach straight up, lunge forwards and reach over to the right, lunge forwards and twist to the right. Now you're going to lunge to the side, reach straight up, lunge to the side and reach over, lunge to the side and twist. Now transverse. If you're not familiar with a transverse lunge, you're going to take this right foot to approximately 9 o'clock and move away from your 12 o'clock on the left foot. Arms are going straight up first. I'm going to turn around the corner, push the arms up. Turn around the corner, side bend. So frontal plane arms. Turn around the corner, transverse plane arms, rotate. Got it? Left side. So forward first. So I have a sagittal plane leg, sagittal plane arm, sagittal plane leg, frontal plane arm, sagittal plane leg, transverse plane arm. Now let's go frontal plane leg, sagittal plane arm, frontal plane arm, and body. You can take your torso, and then transverse plane arm. And then we do our transverse lunge straight up with the arms, up and over. I like to think of this as Superman. And then rotate. Okay, you're just going to run through that one more time on each side, the whole sequence. So remember, it's a mid-range lunge. I actually want to move through this with a little bit of pace, because it is something that I would do as a warm-up. Transverse plane. A little bit like rubbing your tummy and tapping your head, right? Trying to remember it all. Left leg, forward. Arms to the side. Side tilt. Now twist. And then sideways with the leg. Kind of tests your brain. I always think if exercise works your brain as well, transverse plane your legs, that's a really good thing. Because it means we're firing more synapses everywhere. Okay, great. So we're halfway through. Number 4, we're going to now train our Ruffini endings. Now these guys, they reside in the proximal end of the capsule, of a joint capsule, and you've also got lots of them in the spine. Now these love frontal plane and transverse plane combined movements, and they like that end range as well. So what we're going to do is a transverse plane jump, or a 2 foot to 1 hop. And we're going to do a type 1 arm rotation with it. So transverse plane jump. Start with your feet under your hips. We're going to go to the right. You're going to turn and hop onto one leg. And then come back to 2. So that's what the legs are doing. Your arms, right arm's going overhead to the left. Left arm's going under to the right. So your body's actually going to lean away. It's going to look like this. It's going to lean away from your hop. And you're going to try and do that all at the same time. Okay, remember this? It's kind of like that. So 2 to 1, hop to the right. So you're going to end up facing 9 o'clock. Okay, it's a quarter turn. Jump to the right, right arm goes left, and then you come back. Okay, try that again. Hop and come back. So it's kind of hard to balance, or it should be. Hop, good. Now do a couple more. And then you're actually going to hold this next one and do 5 quick hops. And then come back. Go back to slow and sticky. So turn and back. Turn and back. I'm going to show you sideways on so you can see how much my hip is pushing out to the side. Now hold this one and do 5 quick hops. Keep pushing that hip to the side. Come back. And that's all we're going to do. Okay, so Ruffini endings also, they like little changes in speed, little variations to keep them switched on. So let's go left turn, 3 o'clock, left arm overhead, right arm around. You following? Okay, let's go this way. 1, 2, 3, hop left, swing your left arm over to me. So it's a little bit of a stick the landing, bend the knee, shove the hip out. So you should feel it really open and expand on that side. Now hold this one, 5 quick hops on the ball of the foot, and come back. I'm going to show you from a different angle. So again, you can see how much I tip over, I throw myself off balance, and I really get into that outer hip. Hold the next one, do 5 quick little hops, and come back. Whew. Is this turning into a workout? I feel like it might be. We're nearly there. Golgi tendon organs. You've probably heard all about these when you learned about PNF stretching in your level 3. So these reside in the tendons, hence Golgi tendon organs. They govern length. They allow us to shorten and lengthen muscles. We're going to do a lateral drop for this one. And we're going to do it with a cross arm reach because Golgi tendon organs like to be worked in your frontal plane and your rotational plane all at once. And they also like end range because they're in a tendon which is on the end. So lateral drop, 2 to 1. Hops, by the way, awesome way to train the glutes. Like fabulous way to train the glutes. What we're going to do is take your hop, reach the arms across in the same direction, so it looks like that. But see if you can collapse into the hips. I want you to imagine your pelvis is trying to bump your hip and thigh out of the way. Do you remember those 80s, if you're old enough, those 80s balls that used to sort of be magnets? You'd swing one and the other would bang. Think of your pelvis doing that to your femur. So we're going to do just 5 or 6. So jump and twist. So it's frontal plane hop, transverse plane arms, trying to get them to just slice around. I'm going to do one more, and then we'll go the other way. And I'll fix my hair because it's going everywhere. So left hop. This time your femur is bumping to the left. You're pushing that hip right the way out. Ready? Arms straight. Let's go. Jump and back. Now, if somebody couldn't hop, I'd give them a totally different exercise that still got them lateral and rotational at once. I might just step there and use the arms as a driver or the head as a driver. So I might do something like this where I step to the left and ask them to take their nose around. So you can play with exactly how you get at these. These are just moves that I've picked. Now your last one, this is combined a way to switch on your muscle spindle proprioceptors and your fascial proprioceptors, which are actually not very well understood yet. Lots of ongoing research into them, but what we do know is that both muscle spindle proprioceptors and your fascial proprioceptors like all 3 planes of motion. And if you can do that at once, even better. So what we're going to do is set up in a sagittal plane lunge. So if you're thinking, how do I do all 3 planes at once? You have lots of joints and lots of limbs. We put them all together, and that's how we move multiple planes at once. So we're in a sagittal plane lunge. You're going to frontal plane hop your foot out and in. So if you imagine a beam, you're going to hop it down the beam. You're going to take your arms transverse towards the back leg, okay? So your foot goes out, your hands go back, your hip goes out, your knee's probably going to come in a little bit because your foot is likely going to come into a little bit of a pigeon. So don't worry about that, just make sure your knee stays facing the way the toes are going, you'll be absolutely fine. We're going to do 5. So drop, reach, hop that way, reach your arms this way. Ready? 1, 2. Should be hard to move that foot. Put some weight on it. Bend the hip to the side. Try and really swing those arms. 1 more. Try and touch your heel. Were you close? I wasn't. Then let's just swap. Final bit. Drop, shoulders over hips. So you're just in a nice long, let me show you this way, a nice normal lunge stance. And then we're going to hop to the left, swing the arms to the right. You ready? Hop and reach. So I'm actually letting my arms come down very slightly. Not worrying too much about whether that foot stays facing in or stays forward. One more. Good. And give your legs a shake. What do you feel? So you should feel that your butt's awake, that your hips have worked, that the front, the back, the side, the whole way around your butt is kind of alive and kicking. And if you were to go and now do plyometric training or lift heavy weights, you would probably find that you feel a whole lot better and a whole lot stronger for doing this sort of activation routine as opposed to shortening and contracting and just creating very rapid burn in your muscles through something like a glute thruster or a booty band. So I would love to know what you thought of that. Please go and put it into practice. So do this routine and then go do something. Go and do your heavy lifts, go and do your run. And let me know how you get on. Let me know if you get a little bit more sizzle in your derriere. Until next time, this has been fantastic. I hope you enjoy putting this into practice.